Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. This is a news break. We're talking about some of the big news items that happened over the weekend in the world of professional wrestling, and this one is mainly to do with New Japan Pro Wrestling and a few other promotions. Zack Sabre Jr. reclaims the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship from Hirooki Goto at Tanahashi Jam. So this is an event I didn't even watch, and I just finished it today, this overnight, and surprised to some extent, but not surprised. So Goto, who those of us who are New Japan fans, both from the East and the West, love the fact that he finally got the IWGP World Championship. He was always the bridesmaid, never the bride, when guys like Naito and Okada and Omega and so on and so forth were at the top of the card. But now Goto finally reached that pinnacle, and we were hoping for a lengthy title reign. However, he did, as I said, lose the title back to Zack Sabre Jr., who is now a two-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. One of the quotes says, in this reign, Goto successfully defended the title against Hiroshi Tanahashi, Shota Umino, David Finlay, and others. Zack Sabre Jr. initially challenged Goto for the title at Resurgence. That match ended in a double pin, so we knew we were getting a rematch. I thought this was going to happen at Dominion, but they saved it for Tanahashi Jam. So a lot of the speculation from a lot of fans is that the reason for this is because we have Forbidden Door coming up. Forbidden Door is going to be in Europe this year, so they're aiming for, and a lot of people are saying they're aiming for an Ospreay Zack Sabre Jr. main event, which is a match we've seen several times before. It has been a while since we've seen that match, but I get why people are a bit upset about it, especially some of the Western New Japan holdovers who aren't very happy about it. And I understand this. When you watch New Japan, you want to see Japanese wrestlers, not European wrestlers. And since it seems that the shift's going to be more to guys like Zack Sabre Jr., Callum Newman, of course Gabe Kidd, who's a big rising star right now, some fans are upset about that and think that this is just a way for them to book for that. And then probably after the G1, somewhere maybe the Destruction shows in September, I think they're still in September, or it's definitely King of Pro Wrestling coming to fall. Zack's going to drop the belt back to Goto, and then we'll go most likely to Yota Tsuji going for the championship. Right now, Yota Tsuji is everybody's kind of pick. Well, not everybody, but most people's pick to win the G1 this year. That seems to be the trajectory they're going on, and this is just something for Forbidden Door. Whether that's true or not, we're going to have to see. But I will say congratulations to Zack. Zack Sabre Jr., a guy whose style, some people like it, some people hate it. I have grown to like Zack Sabre Jr.'s style over the years. I do appreciate the fact that he and guys like Jonathan Gresham do something slightly different in the catch-as-catch-can mat wrestling world to make it a little bit more exciting than just sitting in headlocks and arm bars for 5 minutes. So I'm not pissed about Zack being a champion. I do understand to some extent, and this is where some of the pro wrestling sweaties get a little off. It is a business. Making money isn't paramount, but if you're going to have a Forbidden Door show over in Europe, you're probably going to want to try to get the biggest crowd possible and get the crowd who's going to be there to be as familiar with the wrestlers as possible. Unfortunately for Goto, he never had the charisma of a Naito or a Tanahashi or Okada or Shinsuke or any of those guys. He's a solid worker, a solid wrestler. Absolutely, I agree with him becoming world champion. And I have a feeling, again, he'll probably be champion again before it's all said and done. The rest of the results on the show, you have Oleg Boltin taking on Yuji Nagata. He defended his Never Openweight Championship, so Boltin gets his first title defense underneath his belt as the Never Champion. You had some multi-man tag matches. Aaron Wolf, who I mentioned on last week's news item, he made his big speech there, introducing himself to the New Japan world. The NJPW World Television Championship was on the line. El Phantasmo defeated Taiji Ishimori. Phantasmo also continuing on as a champion. The champions are going to be, they're going to have a very long summer this year in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Again, the G1's right around the corner, so Phantasmo, Oleg, Zack Sabre Jr., a lot of Western champions, a lot of not Japanese champions. New Japan has a bad history of doing this, but it doesn't help with their... Again, I understand why some of the faithful have an issue with it. And as we covered the World Championship match, and we had a match with Marufuji and Tanahashi, who beat Oiwa and Kiyomiya. So I thought that was a fun main event, by the way, too. If you haven't checked that one out, the old guard of Marufuji and Tanahashi taking on potential future guard of Reiwa Oiwa and Kaito Kiyomiya. Kiyomiya has been on everybody's radar for a couple years now, ever since that whole thing that happened with him and Okada a few years ago. Last bit of news we want to talk about today: Major League Wrestling, CMLL, and New Japan Pro Wrestling hold a international summit of executives in New York City. So, to read the headline here, MLW, NJPW, and CMLL held an executive meeting in New York City to discuss their alliance. So, interestingly enough, this is the funny part about language in pro wrestling. So, you have an actual alliance, an international wrestling alliance here between an American company, a Japanese company, and a Mexican company. So that would be an alliance, which means they're not independent. So they're not indies. So the other companies would be the indies. But curious, in their absence from this, people have pointed out, is AEW, who also has an alliance with two of these three companies, and they did, a lot of the talent that has come into AEW came from MLW, MJF being an obvious one to point out. But I want to know more about this. Are they planning on trying to grow their imprint? The thing with the pro wrestling industry outside of WWE, and I think to some extent outside of AEW, is that they really do need to work together in order to keep that ecosystem going. And it is good to see these companies working together, exchanging talent, having an idea on how they can take their limited audience, which is, in a couple 100,000 in the States and probably about 1 million around the world, if you want to take the Mexican audience, the UK audience, the Japanese audience, and the American audience that watch MLW or would be interested in going to a show from those, is probably or somewhere around that number if you take all of those wrestling populations together. So it's not anything to sneeze at. You can make money if you internationally have about 1 million people who would be interested in your product. The issue is how to manage that, how to keep things kosher. It basically is what the old National Wrestling Alliance used to do in the territory system. So I'm curious to see if we're going to have a return to that here with this new alliance, or not a new alliance, but a strengthening alliance between CMLL, New Japan, and Major League Wrestling. And what role, if any, will AEW have in it? And of course, you have to always worry about, is WWE, they're partnered up now with AAA. Is WWE and TKO going to try to do something against this? WWE's been very hesitant to go against New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think it's out of old respect, but that was when Vince was around, because Vince did have some respect for New Japan. There's old photos of him at the Tokyo Dome. So I think he always had that respect for them. I don't know if Triple H, TKO, The Rock, those guys, Nick Khan have the same deference for New Japan. They certainly don't have it for CMLL, as we all know right now. And MLW has sued WWE in the past. So, and New Japan is also partnered with AEW. So there's definitely two sides of the wrestling world. We're seeing this evolve. It'll be a story that us wrestling fans are going to be able to see and enjoy over the years. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Do you think it was the right decision to put the championship back on Zack Sabre Jr. in New Japan? Do you think Goto is going to get the title back? How do you think this shapes up for Forbidden Door and the G1 coming up? What do you think about this alliance between MLW, New Japan, Major League Wrestling, as they go forward to try to create this new alliance of wrestling companies? And let me know what you guys think in the comment box below. Until next time, I got some new videos up on the gaming channel. We got this month's latest game, so you can check that out if you're interested in, maybe you want to buy a new game this year, maybe you want to see some cool stuff you've never seen before. There's a lot in that video, so check out Rant and Review Gaming for that. And I will be doing, once I finish the series, a review of Squid Game Season 3 on the Entertainment channel, so definitely head on over there, subscribe to those channels, and I appreciate it very much. Until next time, I'll see you guys here for more news, rumors, and reviews on the Rant and Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.